Did you know that Chris Hemsworth was actually lit on fire during the filming of Extraction 2? In fact, the actor himself called it the most detailed and exhausting fight training he'd ever been part of. Yet here we are, watching what might be Netflix's most divisive action sequel of 2023. One controversial character, some questionable plot choices, and boom, we got what many fans are calling both a masterpiece and awful at the same time. After the massive success of the first film, which Netflix claims was watched by 99 million people, Extraction 2 finally arrived on the streaming platform. The marketing promised an even more intense continuation of Tyler Rake's story, with mind-blowing action sequences and a fresh take on the mercenary genre. The trailer teased everything fans wanted: a 21-minute one-shot action scene, intense prison breaks, derailed trains, and a story that would honor the original while pushing new boundaries. Even the return of Chris Hemsworth alongside talented additions like Idris Elba seemed perfect. What could go wrong? For a movie that made some of the boldest choices in action filmmaking, from fighting with a ladder against a helicopter and setting fire to its lead actor, why did it leave so many feeling underwhelmed? In this video, we'll break down the 7 reasons why Extraction 2 fell short of fan expectations. But before we dive deeper, as always, a quick ask. If you're new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, please take a second now to hit that subscribe button. It's one small click for you, but an enormous deal for us. Thanks. Number 1. The identity crisis. Let's start with the film's biggest fundamental flaw: its confused sense of identity. From the very beginning, Extraction 2 can't seem to decide what kind of movie it wants to be. Is it a serious character study about a man dealing with trauma, a straightforward action thriller, or a deep exploration of family bonds? While the original Extraction balanced these elements effectively, the sequel stumbles between them like Tyler Rake after one too many punches. The identity crisis is most evident in the film's handling of its main character, Tyler Rake. In the first film, he's a straightforward mercenary with a tragic past. Now we're supposed to believe he's both an unstoppable action hero and a deeply traumatized individual dealing with loss. While Hemsworth delivers a solid performance, the movie never quite figures out how to balance these aspects of his character. The film spends its first 20 minutes showing us Tyler's recovery and rehabilitation, complete with moody shots of him staring into the distance and contemplating his existence. But once the action kicks in, all of that emotional groundwork seems to evaporate, only to resurface at convenient moments when the plot needs to slow down. Number 2. The action paradox. Perhaps most puzzling is how the film manages to simultaneously excel and fail in its action sequences. The much-hyped 21-minute one-shot sequence in the Georgian prison is undeniably impressive. It's a technical masterpiece that showcases everything from hand-to-hand combat to vehicular chaos, culminating in a train derailment that pushes the boundaries of action filmmaking. Sorry, Tom Cruise. But here's where things get complicated. After delivering this mind-blowing sequence early in the film, everything that follows feels somehow less, like it's serving your best dish as an appetizer. Sure, it's amazing, but now everything else feels anticlimactic. The film peaks too early, leaving the rest of its action scenes struggling to match that initial intensity. Even more problematic is how these incredible action sequences often defy basic logic. Take the now infamous ladder scene, where Tyler uses an aluminum ladder as a shield against helicopter gunfire. While it is visually spectacular, moments like these stretch credibility to the breaking point, pulling viewers out of the experience just when they should be most invested. Number 3. The Sandro problem. If there's one aspect of Extraction 2 that has united viewers in frustration, it's the character of Sandro. Netflix users have been vocal about their issues with his character, with many calling him one of the most annoying characters in film history. But the problem goes deeper than mere annoyance. Sandro's character represents everything wrong with the film's approach to storytelling. Despite witnessing his father threaten to kill his mother, despite seeing his uncle's men repeatedly try to murder those protecting him, he still makes decisions that defy both logic and basic survival instincts. The writers seem more interested in manufacturing drama than creating believable character motivations. Even more baffling is how the film handles Sandro's plot armor. While everyone around him gets shot, stabbed, or beaten, he somehow emerges without a scratch. This inconsistency only adds to the frustration, making his character feel less like a real person and more like a plot device designed to create artificial tension. Number 4. The plot hole predicament. If Extraction 2's action sequences occasionally defy physics, its plot often defies basic common sense. The film's narrative is riddled with logical gaps that become more glaring the longer you think about them. For instance, let's talk about the Georgian prison break. How does a high-security prison suddenly erupt into a full-scale riot exactly when our heroes need it to? The film never bothers to explain this convenient timing. Even more puzzling is how Tyler's team seems to have detailed knowledge of the facility's layout, despite it being a secretive, off-the-books operation. Then there's the question of Zurab's seemingly infinite resources. Despite being a Georgian crime lord, he somehow has access to military-grade helicopters, endless waves of well-trained mercenaries, and the ability to track our heroes across multiple countries. The film expects us to accept these elements without question, prioritizing spectacle over coherence. Number 5. The emotional disconnect. While the first Extraction succeeded in making us care about its characters, particularly the bond between Tyler and Ovi, the sequel struggles to make any meaningful emotional connections. The film tries to compensate by introducing multiple emotional threads: Tyler's past trauma, his relationship with his ex-wife's sister, the family dynamics of the people he's rescuing, but none of these storylines truly land. Take, for example, the relationship between Tyler and Ketevan. The film tells us there's a connection because she's his ex-wife's sister, but we never feel it. The interactions are limited to urgent whispers during action sequences or brief moments of respite that feel more like mandatory pit stops than genuine character development. Even more frustrating is how the film handles Nick Khan's character. Despite Golshifteh Farhani's strong performance, her character's potential is largely squandered. The film sets her up as Tyler's equal, a capable operator with her own agency, but by the final act, she's reduced to a plot device serving Tyler's heroic moments. Number 6. The visual paradox. One area where Extraction 2 truly shines is its cinematography, at least technically speaking. The film boasts some of the most ambitious action sequences ever attempted, with director Sam Hargrave pushing the boundaries of what's possible in action filmmaking. However, this technical brilliance comes at a cost. The film's clinical precision in capturing action often feels too clean and too choreographed. Where the first film had a gritty, documentary-like feel that added to its realism, the sequel's polished look sometimes makes it feel more like a video game cutscene than a lived-in world. This is particularly evident in the film's color grading. Everything is washed in a cool metallic blue that, while stylish, strips away any sense of warmth or humanity from the proceedings. It's as if the film's visual style is working against its attempts at emotional storytelling. Number 7. The video game problem. Speaking of video games, it's impossible to ignore how much Extraction 2 feels like a Call of Duty campaign brought to life. While this might sound exciting on paper, it creates some fundamental storytelling problems. The film's structure follows a distinctly video game-like progression: clear the prison level, survive the train level, and face the final boss in the climactic showdown. While this approach delivers non-stop action, it makes the story feel mechanical and predictable. Each sequence feels less like a natural progression of events and more like a carefully designed set piece waiting to be triggered. Even Tyler's seemingly superhuman abilities start to feel less impressive when you realize he's essentially operating on video game logic. Getting shot multiple times? Just take cover for a few seconds and you're good to go. Need to go fight a helicopter? Grab the nearest ladder. These moments might make for exciting gameplay, but in a film attempting to tell a grounded story about family and redemption, they create a jarring disconnect. The summarized verdict. So, what ultimately went wrong with Extraction 2? It tried too hard to be bigger than the first Extraction movie. It could have continued the tone, but it pushed for the next level. This, unfortunately, led to its inability to balance its competing priorities. It wanted to amplify every single aspect of the first movie, from character trauma, action, and story, everything to the next level. It wants to be a thoughtful character study about trauma and redemption while also being a non-stop action spectacle. It aims to tell an emotional story about family while treating its characters like video game avatars. It strives for grounded realism while constantly defying basic physics and logic. Don't get me wrong, there's still plenty to admire here. The action sequences, particularly that 21-minute one-shot scene, are genuine achievements in filmmaking. Chris Hemsworth continues to prove himself as a capable action star, and some individual moments truly shine. However, as a complete package, Extraction 2 feels like less than the sum of the previous movie. And those are the 7 reasons. So, what do you think about Extraction 2? Did its impressive action sequences make up for its storytelling flaws? Or are we being too harsh on a film that just wants to entertain? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this analysis. Also, let us know what other movies you'd like us to break down next. This video was made by movie fans, for movie fans.